I always look for the biggest challenges. I'm looking for the biggest fights. You know, ever since I came back, I wanted to, in a way, make up for the lost time. And I don't think there's any other way except fighting the best champions out there. We fought another undefeated fighter, undefeated champion tonight. There's no one else that excites me enough, that motivates me, and that can challenge me, other than Errol Spence.
Definitely I want that fight. I feel like that's the best fight available for me right now with Sean Porter and Danny Garcia fighting each other in September. Keith Thurman still has to return and get a tune-up. So right now, that's the best fight for me. You know, he's daring to be great. He wants to be great, so he's going to move up, you know, and try to dethrone me, and it's not going to happen.
Mike Garcia is one of the most talented guys out there.
He mentioned Errol Spence. Do you think he's ready for a fighter like that, or is that just too big for him? Mikey, he hadn't mentioned Errol Spence earlier.
Man, he better stop playing, man. Errol Spence way too big for him right now. Mikey Garcia is a smaller guy, you know, 135, 140. Not now. Errol Spence at 47, man. He's been there. He's the bigger guy, man, and he can punch.
Yeah.
See, Mikey, I've been in the ring with Spence too. You know, he sparred, you know, a few years back when he was amateurs, and Smith always had this type of power, you know, tremendous power, and, you know, but, you know, Mikey has his mind made up. You know, Mikey has his mind made up of going up in weight classes, you know, but, you know, that's what boxing's for. Boxing, you know, champions believe they can take on other champions, so there you have it. You know, I tip my hat out to him. You know, you seen it tonight. He's a true champion, true warrior. So, but you know, Errol Spence, he's a different breed. He's an animal, man.
I think it's a dangerous fight. That's what makes it interesting, obviously. Mikey shows ambition. He obviously wants to prove that he's a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter. I think in the back of his mind, or maybe in the front of his mind, he's thinking that he can be the #1 guy. And if you can beat somebody like Errol Spence, you're making a case for that, because I think a lot of us, myself included, identify Spence as a potential #1 pound-for-pound guy as we go along. It would be a fascinating fight, southpaw against conventional fighter, body puncher against all-around offensive guy. Both are technically skilled. Maybe Mikey has a little bit of an edge in experience and overall technique, but Spence is a force of nature. It would be very hard to pick a winner. So I would be excited to see that matchup, and a lot of people think that it's a big step up in weight for Mikey. I don't see that.
Well, Mikey's not the kind of guy who just says or talks for the purpose of calling somebody out. He's a very respectful young man, and what he says he means. I mean, he wants to fight Errol Spence. I was just in the locker room with him now, and I said, "Man, so you're really serious?" And I said, "You know what they're going to ask you at the press conference?" He says, I know, you know what I want." I said, "I know what you want. So you're serious?" He says, "Yeah, that's what he wants." I had the chance to talk to Errol Spence a little bit too, and I think he is up for the challenge as well. So matter to see, have to see if we can get it done. I think it would be one of those dream matchups, those like mythical matchups.
I think that it's too much of a jump. I mean, let's go one step at a time, and then we'll see how we do in those fights, and then that'll dictate what happens at that. Because 47 is big. I mean, and Spence is a great puncher. He can really hit. Yeah, I like Errol Spence. He was one of my favorite guys when I was training the Olympic team that year, and he was on that team. He was a great puncher.
Mikey Garcia looked phenomenal, then gets on the mic and calls out Errol Spence, which, you know, Errol Spence I think is 12 pounds heavier as far as, you know, in the weight class that they fight, so he'd be the bigger man. Mikey Garcia is 39-0. He's top 3 pound for pound best fighters in the world. You know, Errol Spence considered one of the best fighters in the world as well. It would be an epic fucking fight. They both want it, and for him to fight at welterweight would be an amazing fight. I think Errol Spence has more power. I think he's maybe a little more dynamic, a little more athletic, and explosive. But I think the fundamentals, and I think with Mikey's technique, he could win via decision. Most people, especially a lot of people in my circle, think Errol Spence would knock him out, but I don't think so. I think Mike Garcia gets it done via decision.
I think it's a great fight. It's great for boxing. A guy who wants to challenge a guy in another weight class, actually a few weight classes higher. That within itself is exciting, the ambition that he has. And then Errol is a guy that I've known for quite a few years, and I've actually personally worked with Errol. So I know he's a great fighter, so that makes for a great fight.
A lot of these guys, if they're not willing to take a handicap match like that to move up in weight or something like that, or move down in weight to make a fight happen. So it's cool and it's refreshing that you do have fighters out here that's willing to make that happen and do that. I think it'll be a good fight. I think Mikey would still bring his power with him. I love to see how Errol Spence is going to deal with it, but I'll go with Errol Spence over Mike.
I think his skill set is great for Mikey Garcia. At the same time, I think Errol has a great skill set as well. So I think it'll be a great fight. I think that you got two of the best competitors. I mean, I believe in Mikey Garcia as a tough guy, but Errol Spence is my guy. I love him. It's going to be a great fight. And, you know, I see Errol winning the fight.
Man, that's a very tough fight. I think he should get a fight before that. I think he should probably either fight like Manny Pacquiao or someone, either Manny Pacquiao or someone not at Errol Spence caliber, but someone at his weight, so he could get adapted to that punching style and to that type of weight. Especially those guys are bigger guys. Errol Spence, he's a monster for 147 pounds. So I think taking that fight right away is a little bit jumping the gun. I think he should wait it out a couple more fights, but Mikey, he truly wants to be great, and if he really wants that fight, then let him take it, and if he really believes it, I mean, all the best for him. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he has a tremendous training camp for that fight, because Errol Spence is going to be a good fight. That's going to be exciting.
Two great fighters matching up, you know, again, when two great fighters clash, anything can happen. I myself personally, not knowing all there is to know about Mikey, I feel like he's a little small, right? And only because Spence is a big welterweight, but they're both very talented, and Mikey must see something that we don't see. So that's what happens in boxing. You know what I mean?